about real things. My name is Donnell Brett. I'm one of your hosts. Your co-host right here is Johnny Brooks, my man Dietrich Avens, and Larry Kennedy. Guys, thanks for coming out, man. Hang with me today at the bar, man. One of the things, y'all know me, been married for 4 years, but when I got married, instantly went into a blended family, right? And I tell y'all this, it's one of the hardest things that I've ever done in my life. And I'm still doing it right now. It's a very hard thing, man. Like, you got to deal with a lot of different dynamics. You also got to deal with the kids is the biggest thing, dealing with their fathers or their mothers, right? You laughing, Dietrich. Anything you want to tell us about? You in the blended family.
Yeah.
Give me some examples of some things that's hard, or was hard when you became a blended father.
Man, it is rough, like you said. Definitely it's rough. I mean, it can be done, but it is rough. One major thing I kind of dealt with is favoritism. A lot of times, as a dad, sometimes I would feel like, man, my wife's showing kind of some favoritism to her child, and then on the opposite end, she's kind of feeling like I'm showing favoritism to my kids. So it's rough trying to find a medium to make sure across the board, everybody, we all in this together. That if you can't be out after a certain time, that goes for you, and that goes for you and you, whoever's in that house. That's the rule set in this house. So it was kind of rough with that. I'm usually more of a disciplinarian. So when I'm seeing things being said or done, I'm kind of looking like, yo, you ain't gonna say nothing. So it was kind of rough with that. Coming into a blended family, man. I was married previously, and my wife passed away. We were coming up on 10 years, I want to say. And that left me, I had my son and daughter with me. So when I remarried, I married my current wife now, and she had a daughter also. So it was just like, man, I remember, Donnell, that my son used to do stuff on purpose. I'm sitting there looking at him, and he bringing up people that have been to the house. Daddy, when so-and-so coming around here? And I'm like, why would you do that right in front of,
So he would ask you about another woman coming.
Yes. And he was doing it on purpose, man. And I was sitting there like, man, are you, she ain't doing nothing wrong to you. Why are you acting like this? But it was just the process of it, man. Even with my wife's daughter, she used to tell me about the guy that my wife used to talk to, and I'm sitting there like, man,
too much information.
Yeah, I don't want to hear about that, man. You about to maybe go to his house. So it was a lot, man. It was a lot.
That favoritism part, and I know I talked to Johnny, y'all talked to y'all about that, and I know John, I know you probably got a situation you probably can talk about too. I know me, like, I used to think that my wife's children, that I was disciplining them differently than I was disciplining my own son, right? Because we all in the same house. When we got together, I had to bring my son with us, and then she had her 3 children, right? And so now we all in the same house. So they may not see me discipline, my son, right? So they think I'm picking on them when I come to their room and say, hey, go take out the trash or go do this, but I'm disciplining everybody the same way. But in their minds, I'm against them, right? And so I felt like, honestly, there's only one approach, and this is just my way of thinking. It's one approach. Treat everybody the same way. So when I came into and that was the problem though. We didn't talk about, because I heard you say that, about the different ways or different how. We didn't talk about how we was gonna raise the kids. We did all the fun stuff. Yeah. But we didn't talk about how we're gonna raise the kids. I mean, what you think, Johnny?
Well, my situation, I got 2 step-kids, but mine is a little different because my daughter, she was 3 when I got my wife.
Okay.
And my baby boy was like a month old. So they know me as dad.
Okay.
Only problem I got in my situation is my wife deal with the kids one-on-one behind my back. So when I don't hear stuff until it hit the fan. You know what I'm saying? We got a great family, everything runs smooth, but I don't like the one-on-one shit. They got their group text, message. So one of the kids would come in the house and say something. I'm like, where'd that come from? You know, my wife done talked about
You the last one to
everything.
find
Yeah,
out.
you know, so I just think like dealing with, you know, stepkids, whatever. I'm great because I caught it early. Donnell, your situation, the kids was already molded, grown, so it's a little harder for your situation. I don't know how old your kids were, you know what I'm saying, but mine is like 80-20, which 80 being on a good side. So mine is not really that bad, but I just don't like the way that my wife deal with the kids without me, you know.
Right. That's it's hard. Now you, on the other hand, you didn't have that, right?
No, I've been married to my wife 20 plus years, but what I seen my wife go through it.
Okay.
So, and I could talk about a multitude of topics dealing with blended families. Everything from coaching, my wife's situation, and even my own personal dad. Even though my mom and dad never married, my dad did marry, and I felt like he had a whole different life than he had with me. So I didn't get to know my dad till later on, really, till I was really into my teenage years. Then I saw my wife, because I dated my wife in high school. When we were 16, we started dating, and I saw the household and how it was divided between my wife and the biological kids, between her mother and her stepfather. And I saw how it even carried over into our teenage years, all the way up into our adult years, and watching her dad, to this day, he's only come to Charlotte once or twice. So you're gonna say you're her father. If you're gonna be a father, be a complete father, be a whole father.
Right.
Don't come up here and say that you her father and I ain't seen you but twice. Because if that was your biological daughter, you would have come many of times, every weekend, every other weekend.
He wasn't cut off, was he?
No, he was never cut off.
Okay.
He was never cut off. My wife still calls her dad. And my wife's mother passed away. So she still to this day calls him dad. So for him to only have come to Charlotte twice was a problem. It was a problem for me, especially she grew up in the house as your daughter. So I've seen it. Then I've also seen it as a coach. So as a youth coach, what I see a lot of is I get these blended families, and a lot of times when I'm doing certification, registration, pictures, trophies, I have to do 2 sets of pictures, 2 trophies.
Wow.
You know, have to do, you know, multiple things for each kid, for each household. So you see it, every household is ran differently. It affects each household differently. I know it affected my wife differently, and I know that's her stepdad, and she's gonna always love him and stick up for him. But me as a man, I'm gonna be a little hard on him because of the expectation that I place on him, and you gonna come and you gonna preach one thing, but you gonna show another. And love, you can't tell me you love me and the actions don't match. Everything gotta match. So I've seen it a lot of places, even in my own dad. When I told my dad, when I was high school senior, my dad was coming to town. I won homecoming king. My dad told me on that Thursday night when I saw him, he was coming to my game. I looked for my dad in that stands the whole night. And then when they told me his wife had rushed him out of town, when I went to see what happened, why didn't he come, he was gone. And my stepmother at the time rushed my dad out. That's what I was told. Now, whether that was true or not, no, because we have a great relationship now.
Right.
We really do. So, but it hurt because I wanted to spend time with my dad, finally. This was a chance for me to see my dad, spend time with my dad. I was the #1 DB in the country. I was being recruited by everybody. This was a chance to finally see my dad. But because of the split households, blended situations, blended families, my dad had other obligations. So I've gone through my own share of things,
Right.
you know, so we all had our stories. So
Right.
yeah, so it's all good.
I mean, me, man, like, so in my marriage, okay, it's 8 kids total, right? So yeah, 8 kids total. 4 of mine and 4 of hers. But when we got together in the household, it was just 4, right? And so, again, we never talked about this, but who's the disciplinary? Like, so one person, we never came to talk. So, you know, again, you got an outside, I got an outside person now though, because I believe that her kids, and that was just my assumption, I think they were scared to kind of get warm up to me because fear maybe of the father. So before, you know, we're gonna go to break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about the other person in the dynamic, right? The other father, the other mother. You know, have you have any issues with that person? What that could do? But right now, we're gonna go to break, man. Thank y'all for tuning in to Talk Kings. We'll be back after our sponsors. Welcome back to Talk Kings, where kings talk about real things. Today we're still talking about blended families. We done talked about how tough it was, gave some great examples from anything from personal to all the way to just a youth football coach or sports in general or being a mentor. But now I want to kind of move into the part about the baby father, right? So that's a huge dynamic in my marriage because, you know, again, they're not deadbeats, so there's a difference. You know, sometimes you become a father to some kids that have deadbeat fathers that are not around, but their fathers are actually in their life. It could be easy, or it could be real hard. For me, I think it was hard for me because I'm a real family man, and it was kind of hard that I felt like that maybe they never really wanted to warm up to me because they were afraid that their father would be upset, right? And so I love them as much as I could, and I believe that they love me as much as they can. But, you know, being that he's in it, you know, but when they have issues, I feel like that, you know, I'm the one that has to pick up where, you know, he left some pieces at or whatever. I don't know, have y'all ever experienced anything like that?
Well, me personally, my kid's dad never really been there. He was there for the daughter when she was like 3 or 4, but never done nothing for the baby boy. So he used to bring gifts for the daughter, never bring nothing for the son. So I told my wife, don't accept nothing for the daughter, you know, because we were good. So fast forward to the situation we're in now, he still don't do nothing. I tried to bridge the gap. I told my wife, I felt she was a little bitter towards him because he don't do, but we never needed him financially, which he should have been doing because he obligated to. But he just, I tried to bridge the gap to deal with him. I said, well, you don't have to deal with him. I deal with him.
Right.
So he called me, texted me. I'm telling the kids, you know, he done like 7, 8 years in penitentiary. He got shot up. He almost died. So I'm just trying to tell my kids, honor thy mother, thy father. You know, don't hold too many grudges against. That's still your dad at the end of the day.
Right.
You know, put all that behind you. But my wife do not push the kids to deal with them. So they taking her demeanor from it. Well, my mama ain't saying nothing. I ain't gonna deal with them.
Right.
But at the end of the day, that's their dad. You know, me and him cool. You know, we see each other, dab each other up. I don't have nothing against him. He can do for the kids, but he just don't. You know, a lot of people just be in situations where that, like you say, deadbeat dads, that's what he is. You know, but your situation, you say they do for the kids, but still, disciplining them kids means a lot coming from their biological dad. They take, you know, everything from me, but I'm not, at the end of the day, I'm not their dad.
Right.
I'm not their dad.
But I don't even know if that's right though, guys. Like honestly, and that's something I deal with. When it's time to discipline the child, who should be involved in that? Should it be all three? Should it be just the people that's in that house? Should it be your wife and their father, but you don't have nothing to do with it, but you're the one that at the end of the day is the father that they see every day, right? They come in and out of the house, chores, they stay in the house that you provide or you help, 50-50, however y'all do your household. But when they do something wrong in the household, I don't think it's right that that mother goes to that father and they talk about the punishment.
Agree.
What you think?
I
Larry?
agree with you on that one. At the end of the day, it's those that's under the house. Now, you come to me first. Bring the issue to me first. Let's discuss it inside of our household, inside our marriage, and then if we choose to take it to the father, let's take it to the father. And we'll still even let him know what's going on. But let's deal with the situation at hand under our own roof first. Let's see how we want to discipline the child, see how we want to handle the child. Let's see the conversation we need to have with the child. Or if we need to have a conversation with outside forces, meaning the outside parent, outside father or outside mother, then that's totally different. But
Right.
it has to be handled internally first, because if you go outside the household first and you try to bring the discipline back, and it's not necessarily agreed upon with those under the house, the roof that you're under, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, my wife always told me we had to have a united front with the kids. And I'm not gonna say we always had that, because listen, I had an interesting stat. Second marriages, 65% end in divorce. And I'm gonna be honest, that was a road that we could have went down because of the kids. The kids aren't bad. Her kids aren't bad, mine aren't. None of them been locked up. None of them got in trouble. They all in college now, thank God. So they out the house. But the issue here is it's still a situation where sometimes I'm not told of even something they do wrong. It don't even have to be maybe it's school, right? Maybe it's some school that did something and the teacher called her. So instead of her calling me, which I think she should, she may call her dad, which she may think she should, and he may think he should, because I'm going to flip it on my own self, and then I'm going to ask you guys. I got a daughter and a son that at this point, the mother doesn't have a husband, but listening to some of the stuff that Larry talking about and knowing that I'm so far away, they may feel the same way about me, that I don't come see them every day, or I don't do this because I don't love them, but that's not the case. You know what I'm saying? So I think everything in life has its own different situations, but now I got to ask myself, what am I going to do now when it's time for him to discipline my daughter? How I'm going to feel about that? You got to put yourself in those situations, and it may be a different feeling, but I don't know, you laughing. What you think, Dietrich?
I gotta agree with what you said at the beginning, with, my I don't even say stepdaughter, I say, anybody ask me,
Is your
I
daughter?
got 3 kids, that's
Okay.
my daughter.
All right.
And I think that's the part that I had problems with, was when I looked at discipline, this is my kid. You see your biological daughter maybe, 4 to 5 times out of the month. The rest of the time she's with me. That's my kid. And that's how I looked at it. So when it's like you were saying, if it's a call and you say she got bad grades with this and you call him, I'm saying, oh, I'm sorry, I'm doing the math. I'm looking at how many days she with me and how many days she over here.
Right.
That's something that we kind of need to discuss.
Right.
He's he does his child support and all the other stuff. That's great and that's beautiful. But a lot of times it's just the principle of things. You're in our house. The communication has to be to the point where we know, okay, when something happens in our house, we deal with it. Like Larry was saying, we deal with that situation. And
Right.
if we choose to involve, that's what we'll do. Now, we might let them know after what's going on, but I feel it's our household. I can't look at it as my stepdaughter, or, with my situation a little different. My kids don't have their mother passed away.
Right.
So it was almost, I felt it was easy for her, because I'm like, yo, they don't have nobody, so you should come in like, Jordan off the bench or something like that. You should be ready.
Right.
But it was difficult for me, because I am family oriented, that to feel like I had to share that love or relationship with someone else. It kind of bothered me. I wanted her to look at me as the number one male. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Because that's how my other kids looked at me. That's what I look for. When in actuality, I couldn't really expect that.
Hey, I get you, Deidre, man. I'm gonna tell y'all guys one thing. For me, I had a situation where when the parenting came down to me and the actual father, we didn't have the same agreements on what should have been the punishment. So what you do, but you might can say it. We're gonna come to you after. We're gonna talk to him. Cause I know you ain't not in the blend back. Cause I want to know exactly what they do when the situation would come that the stepfather or the stepfather, the bonus father, don't agree with the father.
Well, first of all, I take it up with my wife. You know, if me personally, I don't think he have no say so on nothing. That's just me. So whatever happened in the household is happened in the household. But for instance, I'm gonna just say I got my daughter 20. If she was dealing with her dad, biological dad like that, if she said, "Dad, can I go to Miami, Florida?" which is me, I say no. He say yes. I'm gonna leave it up to my wife. I'm gonna put it on my wife to make that final decision. So if my wife say yes, that's something me and my wife got to deal with.
Ooh-wee, Dietrich. I'm telling you. Ooh-wee. That's an argument. That's why their marriages end in divorce right there. But what you think, Dietrich?
I'm sorry, I gotta agree with him.
Okay.
I gotta agree with him. I mean, that's
So both of y'all are saying when that happens, y'all you leave it to the wife.
initially, but if she don't handle it, then I do.
Yeah.
So what do y'all mean by handling it?
I'll go to him. Yes, I mean,
So
Well, me personally, I'm gonna jump in as the guy that's on the outside of the game a little bit. Okay, if it's under my roof and she lives under my roof and I say no, no means no.
No means no.
Okay, now you venture out and he tells you yes, then we probably gonna have a problem. Then you probably need to go live with him
Basically.
because it's not gonna work under my house and my rules. Simple as that.
yeah, I don't think he can call the shots outside of our marriage, and our marriage depends on having a healthy inside marriage relationship with all. I think it's an interesting topic, guys. Thanks for coming out today, man, and hanging with me, bruh. Thanks for tuning in again to Talk Kings. I'm Donnell Brett. We got Johnny Brooks, my man Dietrich Avents, and LK, Larry Kennedy. Check us out next week and on all our social media platforms. Talk Kings. See you later.
I am Dr. Angela Flowers, executive coach, educator, and founder of Envision Coaching and Consulting, a training and development agency. I specialize in equipping leaders with tools needed to improve and grow their organization through providing one-on-one coaching sessions, professional development trainings for their staff, and evaluating programs to help develop an action plan intended to promote organizational improvements. I have worked with leaders and teams ranging from education, government, small business, corporate, and most recently, nonprofits. If you're looking for a coach to help you reach your leadership goals or you want to develop your team, contact me at angela.flowers@myenvisioncoach.com.